the time I was a nurse, burned out, just waiting for a reason to quit my job. When I saw the video, I was like, wow, this is really good. Kind of like a serial inventor, but this one just felt different to me. So, I mean, I jumped in. Right from the beginning when we went viral, I was barking orders. I was like, you do this, I'll do the logo, I'll do this. I mean, I felt like it was like this opportunity that just was put into my lap. And I'm like, I have to go and run with this.
Retail sucks. It's a brick wall. It's annoying. Yep. Shop owners are the most annoying people in the world.
100%. And the displays, I mean, they demand everything and such little margin.
Let them buy the knockoff. They're going to throw it in the trash in a week, and then they're going to look for a better one. And there you are. They're marketing for you for free. No one's going to tell anyone the real, raw truth of this journey. I don't know why. It drives me nuts. That's why I started doing this. Why would you withhold information?
I used to literally sit at my computer and be like, I don't even know what to research to find my question. Like, I didn't even know. I would search like invention, and I would get nothing, literally nothing.
Hello guys, and welcome to the Invent With Me podcast, where each week we guide aspiring inventors and product creators to turn their innovative ideas into reality. Learn valuable tips, insights, and success stories from people roughing it in the field of inventing so that you yourself can make your mark in the world. I'm your host, Grant, inventor of Torque Strap, a killer new spring-loaded cargo strap, a strap so easy to use, you just pull. And with me via Google Meet, my new friend, Brooke, co-founder at Oinker. Finally, a mess-free way to apply chain lube. How you doing, Brooke?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me, Grant. I watched so many of your videos, and honestly, I just wish I found them sooner. I feel like bringing something to market for the first time, it's so exciting, but it's like lonely. You don't feel like you have anywhere to go. So if I were to have your Discord or your podcast, I would have been in a much better place had I found them sooner.
Well, thanks for that. And that's the goal, right? We want to bring people together. We want to make all the resources really tangible. But I got to know, Brooke, enough of the fluff. I got to know, how did this product come about? Because I've been lubricating chain lubes since I was a kid. I've been riding dirt bikes since I was probably 11. And yeah, it was such a pain. And I mean, you can either spray it on, in which case it goes all over your tire, your fork frame, or you can use the stupid red plastic hose that does not help at all, puts it in all the wrong places. How did this all come about?
Yeah, so my father, Farrell McCullough, he's a pretty big deal in motocross. In the 70s, he won nationals twice. Then he was later recognized from the AMA as Athlete of the Year. And then most recently, he was inducted into the Legends and Heroes Hall of Fame. So he's always been in motocross, and he kind of had this idea where he wanted a tool that he could put the lubricant exactly where it needed to go. He was kind of frustrated with it kind of going from the rollers to the link plates. There was no way to kind of precisely apply the chain lube. So he started teaching himself CAD, and a few iterations later, he came up with a prototype that worked. And he's like, come out here and shoot this video with me. And I was so shocked at how well it worked. I mean, it was just such a clean application to both sides of the link plates. We were both like, oh my gosh, let's post this to Instagram. I mean, I think he had 11 followers at the time. So we posted it to his 11 followers, went to bed. The next morning he wakes up and he's like, he had previously put it on Amazon as merchant fulfilled.
Yeah.
A little bit different than FBA, but so he woke up the next morning, he's like, oh my gosh, I have 100 orders on Amazon. I'm like, no kidding. Like, so that day, I think we bought two more 3D printers, and we started operating in shifts. We were just cranking them out. It was, I mean, now we have over 30 million views on the post, but it took a little bit to rack up to that. But the high of going viral is, especially when you're not prepared, something I can't explain. I mean, it's really crazy. I mean, so many people are approaching you, and there's so much information and advice out there. We were advised really early on to avoid going to China, that it was the fear of China was kind of put into us. And, so when we were approached by a salesperson in Oregon who was a mold maker that was willing to make it in the US, we were kind of all about that. We were like, yes, let's do that. So this is a 3D printed version. Maybe I'll show you guys the tool first.
Yeah, we'd love to see it.
So this is
perfect
how it goes on. Yeah, it attaches to any can.
Yeah.
And you just hold it like this. This is the 3D version that we were cranking out. It's a little bit different.
Yeah.
So what we didn't realize was that you can't, just because you can 3D print something, you can't injection mold something. So there's like a big difference. So because there's like internal channels in here, it was impossible to 3D print, to injection mold this. So we kind of had to do a complete redesign, which was obstacle number one for sure.
Did you guys patent it early on to where you had to change the patent, or did you run into that?
Fortunately, we included all of the drawings so we kind of were in the process of the provisional patent when we first started, and then we were able to add the images for the new design into that. So yeah, we were able to do the 3D printed version and the injection molded design into the patent.
Great. So take me back though. You said your dad just called you casually into the shop. So you and your pop are close and you guys do this kind of stuff together a lot, I assume?
Yeah. So at the time I was a nurse, burned out, just waiting for a reason to quit my job. And so we live close by, so I'm always kind of helping him. So I felt like when I saw the video, I was like, wow, this is really good. You know, he's had a bunch of little inventions in the past for photography and kind of like a serial inventor. But this one just felt different to me. So, I mean, I jumped in. Right from the beginning when we went viral, I was barking orders. I was like, you do this, I'll do the logo, I'll do that. I mean, I felt like it was like this opportunity that just was put into my lap. And I'm like, I have to go and run with this, right? Like all these people are wanting it in the comments. Everyone's saying, take my money. How do I get this? I'm like, let's seize this opportunity.
Good for you. I love that. And I think it's probably every father's dream to have their daughter so engaged in something that they're passionate about too.
Right. Yes. Such a blessing. I feel like working with my dad is amazing. We don't take anything personal. It's like an unconditional love for each other, which is like the foundation of our business relationship too. So it's amazing.
Awesome. So let me see if I understand. He 3D printed this for a bit. You shot an Instagram video. It did quite well. And because he was already listed on Amazon under FBM, he was able to do 100 orders basically overnight off the back of one video.
Correct. But let me clarify that Amazon merchant fulfill is very strict. I mean, it's very strict. So we were threatened to take our account down multiple times because not shipping out fast enough, because we were cranking out. We could do 6 on a printer, like a bamboo printer bed. We could fit 6. And so we had 3 printers, 6 I think it was 6 in 6 hours, I want to say. And it would take 6 hours to print. So we had 3 printers. So we were only able to put so much out there. So towards the end, I mean, we were at like, you're days away from getting your account taken away from us. So we kind of like found a loophole where we were able to change the handling time. We increased the handling time on the merchant fulfilled, and that kind of bought us a little bit more time. But I feel like the wave of like going viral, there's a big peak, and then it just kind of plateaus. Like it's like done. And then you get like a little bit of like more peaks, and you get like, it's a very interesting how the orders came in. But yeah, that initial rush was intense, trying to get those out and meet the requirements.
You're giving me PTSD, Brooke.
Right.
I've been through this, and you're right. And the reason I thought of it, you mentioned the volatility / unpredictability of the orders. And yes, the way it goes is you go viral in the very beginning. Remember, your product doesn't exist. You're going to hit nothing but fresh eyeballs. And you hit those couple million people kind of quickly. They want to order, and then you kind of saturate them. But I'm getting ahead of myself. They flood your website, they flood Amazon, and they order like crazy. Amazon picks up on that traffic, and Amazon pushes more people to it. But again, that all kind of dies down. So you have a really sharp peak, and then about a 3 or 4 day drop off, and you're back to like, were we too ambitious?
Exactly. That anxiety of feeling like, oh my gosh, we're not ready. You know, like building the logo, building the website after going viral. I feel like hindsight, I really wish we would have been more careful. I mean, you never know when you're going to go viral, but I wish you kind of put more thought into like having a little bit more preparation before, you know, we hit that big audience. Because since then we have not hit that view count ever again. I feel like your first video that you put out is it's not easy to go viral, but I feel like it has a lot more like volatility. Like it can go up really quick, you know?
It just has so much upside. Yes, you're right. It basically, the system is saying, hey, you're new here. Just like when you go to someone's house, they welcome you with open arms. They give you the drinks and accommodations you need, and social media is kind of similar. But once you've been there for a while and you're getting comfortable, they're like, all right, the videos that got you to 10,000 subscribers are not the videos that are going to get you to 50,000.
So true. So true. Yep. Yep. During that time, we accumulated 20,000 followers, I think 20,000 followers. And so we kind of sat on that little nest egg of followers while we were building the injection molded design version. So we continued to sell this 3D printed version, and it took about 9 months to get the units to our door. So during that time, I kind of hit the ground running, doing the packaging, the logo, the Shopify, the Amazon. I mean, there's so much to do to build a brand, like an e-commerce brand. So I kind of was just like waiting on this. I'm like, every day I saw the follower count kind of trickle down. And I'm like, oh my gosh, just hold on. We're coming out with a better design. So I felt like that was really like I felt like a rush to get the injection molded version out. Definitely.
Gotcha. Now, take me back to mass manufacturing. So take me to the point where you switch from 3D to injection molding, the pitfalls, the triumphs, the tribulations, all that.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, it took about 9 months to redesign it for an injection molded piece. It had to be in two parts. We had two different molds, and when we came down to purchase the molds and it was ready, the 3D file was ready, we were told that our mold was really complicated. So that one was going to need to be sent out to China. And then we would have it comes in 4 sizes. So then we would have 4 block molds that would be made in-house in the United States. So we were okay with the fact that we got to split up the molds, having one piece in China, having one piece in America. We felt kind of safe that there was no way of them stealing it. Now, hindsight, I'm like, I don't think that's such a risk now that I'm like on this end of it. But at the time, it felt like such a risk, And so we felt relieved with that. And so when we got the parts, we ordered, I think, 5,000 of each size. And we were very overly ambitious. We're like, we're going to, on day one, we'll be selling 100 orders a day. If we were doing 100 orders and we went viral, So
of course.
we began, exactly. So we began accumulating like a bunch of vertical video. We started shooting. I was really going to leverage the organic 20,000 followers we accumulated. So we hit the ground running doing photo shoots, and my dad has a photography background, which has been so helpful. So we had, the equipment, a little bit better equipment than just, your average. And I started putting together these like 20-second short videos. And our first launch, we launched with a video that went pretty viral. I mean, I definitely had like an oomph to it. We definitely got a big, order. Like a big surge in the orders, and we started reaching out to influencers. I think that was my big strategy was I was going to go for the influencers. So I went for an influencer that had about 500,000 followers, and it was a situation where I was going to pay him a flat fee, and he was going to produce a video and post it as a collab on Instagram. Worked really well, really, really well. We saw really good, he converted very well, and so we were like, I'm going to stick with this. I started reading out to more influencers. And then, influencers started reaching out to us. And that's kind of how we got the initial ball rolling, was just having the chatter about it out there. We used a lot of micro influencers, which was really helpful. The ones that really need you for their content. I didn't realize that. Like, I thought it was kind of like, oh, they're doing me this big favor. But no, if you think of these influencers, they have to post something every day. So they need content that's going to, hit with their audience. So when I kind of changed my mindset, halfway through, I felt so desperate in the beginning, like, would you mind posting a video? But then it was like, we have this really cool product. Like, I think your followers would love it. And when I started kind of framing it like that, we got much more success with the outreach with influencers.
You're a natural born entrepreneur.
I feel like I've been waiting for this moment my whole life, honestly. I really feel like it.
How long were you a nurse?
For 8 years. 8 years as a nurse.
It's a long time.
Yeah, definitely a long time, and very burnt out. But I felt like in the back of my mind, I was always looking for ways to kind of improve a business. Like when I was young, when I was working at a sub shop, when I was 16, me and my best friend, I was always like looking to see like, if I were to run this business, how would I do it? I would do it this way. I would run it this way. I would, have flyers or, whatever it was. But I felt like I was always trying to like strategize how to market. So
do you think that made you a better employee?
100%. 100%. I felt like I cared more about the business than your average person. I felt like I was experimenting almost in my head, like what would work.
What I ran into, I was the same way. And what I ran into was it kind of eventually falls on deaf ears, right? You have all these ideas and so much ambition, and your skin is tingling with things you want to do, want to try, want to improve on, can do faster, can train people how to do more efficiently. And at some point, people just kind of stop caring, and they're like, just get in the rank and file.
Shut up. Shut up.
We're not here for all that.
Absolutely. Especially when I came into nursing. I mean, there was no ears that wanted to hear any improvement, because everyone, they're like, we just want to go home. Like, knock it off.
12-hour shifts. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I definitely think that my dad is very much the inventor, the engineer, the analytical, scientific. He's so against marketing. He's, like a little bit boomerish in that sense. He's like, you can't ever, know your return on your, I'm like that. That was maybe in, the 90s. But nowadays, like, there's so much data that can, drive your marketing strategy. But so I feel like we're such a good mix, because I don't have the engineering experience. His brain thinks so differently than mine. And so it's definitely a balance that we bring to each other. That's
amazing. Well, if he is against marketing and doesn't believe in any data, how would he market this without you?
Right. He's so he agrees with the influencers. He saw the success of the influencers. So he's thinking word of mouth. That's what he said. He's always like, I feel like word of mouth should take this further. But I'm like, I think he's on board now. When we first started, we both were in agreement that trade shows were like not the way to go. We were like, he was getting advice from his buddies, like, go to trade shows. And we're like, no, you can reach so many more people online. Like, you can reach millions of people in a second online than you can in a trade show. So trade shows are definitely good for a certain, niche, but I feel like there's just such a big audience out there. But I think, changing your mind to marketing is so different. Like, I felt like I see the world differently now that I'm like thinking in terms of marketing. I think it's very hard to understand like why people buy, or like the habits of why people buy, or, that whole concept is kind of difficult.
Yeah. Well, you never look at anything the same again.
Never.
You can't walk through the aisles at any major box store without thinking, oh, that's why that's red. That's why that's in the middle of the aisle. That's why it's on the end cap. Yeah.
How much did this display cost? This display must have been $600. I mean, I'm always looking at stuff. I'm like, God, this is such a nice display. Do you even realize how nice this display is?
It's terrible. You cannot function in society anymore. Not like a normal person.
No, not at all. And I think like understanding the targeting of that marketing has come to nowadays is just so beyond my understanding. Like, how they collect so much of our data and how they can target us, like based off our interests, what kind of car we drive. I mean, that was so new to me, that concept. So
yeah. And I'll be honest, I know enough about it to be dangerous. I kind of do what I do best and sub the rest.
Right.
But we've all experienced it. You go on Oinker's website, right? And then the next 3 days, you're hit with an ad on Instagram, you're hit with an ad on 100%. Google, and you're hit with an ad on maybe Facebook Reels.
Yep,
exactly. And you're like, okay, they know I was interesting. They know I'm warm. They're trying to close a deal on me.
No, was it Oinker ads?
What's that?
Were you hit with Oinker ads?
No, it's an example, because you're not running paid ads just yet, right?
So we just started after, we'll get there, but after your Discord advice, I started doing the meta ads, and so much success already. I think we have 11 orders just from the one tiny little $20 a day campaign I started.
No way.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's definitely way different experience than I've had with Google ads. I think Google ads was very tricky for me to get set up. Like going back to bringing a product first to market, you have no one to copy, you have nowhere to go to that's like, oh, this is a good product image. This is a good, you're kind of just on your own trying to figure out the like keyword, even SEO keywords. I mean, I'm like, I don't even know where to start with keywording this, because like no one even knows about this kind of tool. So I started kind of latching on to similar like chain lube and chain wax, and didn't really see much results with that, because people buying chain lube don't really need, like, they're not really in the market for a tool. Like they might be, but it's like I wasn't having success using other keywords. So I think with the Facebook being able to show the video has been so like, we just have a video ad we're doing. It's like a 10-second video ad of it, just no sound, just it being in use. And it's so far, it's working good. So fingers crossed.
Amazing. So you spent $20 and you got 11 orders.
Yeah. I think it was $57. $57. It was $20 a day for a couple of days. But yeah, so
that's great. Really good. For just starting out, that's really good. It's going to get better. and you'll find that you have the top 3 to 5 videos or creatives, if you will, that do great for you for a long time. Like 4 months, they might do great for you. Then you might start to see a diminishing return, and then you bring in fresh content.
Right. That's what they say. They say, like, it's like about the testing of the creative, getting really good at just creating that content, which is no easy feat. I will say creating content is a beast. I mean, it's a full-time job on its own, just coming up with the ideas, executing it. It's a lot.
Well, most inventors, they come into this podcast, into the Discord or whatever, thinking I'm just going to sit here and talk about how to make my fancy button for a dashboard.
Right.
It's like, dude, that's kind of the easy part. Like, we got a lot to cover.
Right. 100%. It really is. It's like venturing is so much. There's so many jobs you could hire in one. I mean, I feel like I'm doing like 7 people's jobs, like the graphic design, the website design. And I think, like you said, like hiring out is so important. Like Fiverr, I've found so much help with Fiverr and just like connecting with people. I think like your Discord is such a good resource where you can bounce ideas off of. I mean, it's worth gold. I mean, it really is. To be able to just drop in there and ask a question is so, so beneficial. But yeah, like nobody can do it on their own. I mean, it's just like nobody's brain can like handle it all on their. I feel like you have to kind of like in the beginning, like strategically hire out, definitely like little tasks, I guess.
Awesome. Well, we could definitely use your help in the ABC testing / I think it's rate my video channels on the Discord. That's proving to be one of the more popular spots for the Discord because we're all shooting vertical content. Right. We all feel cheesy about it. We all feel like doofuses. Some of us are boomers, and we love that feedback. And it's so fun too to be able to judge other people's content, even though you don't feel like an expert. Outside looking in, you're like, oh, you got to remove that logo. This looks like an ad.
Right. It's funny. I'm really excited to like dive into that chat, the ABC testing, but I feel like a little bit like intimidated. Like, should I give them my advice? Like, is it going to hurt their feelings? But no, like people want, like I want people's, like when I send a video to my sister, I'm like, tell me every little thing you want wrong with it. Like that's wrong with it, So yeah, no, I'm really excited to go through that.
I had a call with Eddie yesterday. He's a friend in the Discord chat, and he said, I had this one video get 2,000 views on YouTube, which was really good for him. He's just starting out. Right. And I said, okay, well, let's break it down. So we watched the video before it, we watched the video after it, and then we watched the one that did well. And so I start breaking it down, and I'm just playing the first 3 seconds over and over again. And I gave like 20 notes on the first 3 seconds. And he's like, dude, all you're reviewing is the first 3 seconds. I'm like, it's a very important 3 seconds.
That's it. 100%. Because that finger is ready to swipe. I mean, like when I'm swiping, my finger is over the screen, ready to. It's like one wrong move and I'm gone. Like
you even blink.
Right. No, that hook is so important. And I think it's like, I read somewhere also that the long caption, like the reason for people putting really long captions is so that when they're reading the caption, it's like rolling the video in the background. I mean, like that blew my mind. I'm like, that's so genius because you get the replays, as people are reading that long caption. I mean, there's so many little like nuances that can get you, a little bit up in the game.
Do you feel like some of them are like cheesy hacks or like, I can't think of any of the words. Like I said, I was sick.
Like you can see right through it. Yeah, for sure. I feel like there's a lot of things where I feel like I can see right through. Definitely like the desperateness. I don't like. I mean, I don't like I guess the desperation is of like trying to get that view or, it has to be authentic. But I think when people are putting out, like my biggest advice is like, just show your product and how it works and make that like boom moment really early on in the video, like that, wow, like, oh, I need this, and I think, sometimes I was thinking like there's no wow moment with our product. Like it's so boring, chain lube. Like what is it? But there's like some things, when we were showing videos, the comments we were getting was, this is so satisfying. Oh, I love watching this. So I just started like kind of capitalizing on what the comments were saying and like letting the comments guide us into like the next, video. And then using the trending sounds. You don't even need to talk anymore. You really can just put the trending, like what I do is before I'm ready to shoot a video is I'll just scroll through the For You page and just find a sound that sounds good. I'm like, okay, this one's cool. And just do a demo of the product behind that. And no one needs to be on camera. No one needs to even talk. And I feel like that's a really easy way.
That's awesome. That's a really good hack. And yeah, I found a lot of success with that too.
Yeah.
Eventually I got to the point where I like systemize, assembly line my content. So my strategy became, okay, I'm no longer going to cater to TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or YouTube because it's always a gamble. And you know how it feels when you spend 45 minutes on a video and it kind of flops.
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
And
heartbreaking.
Especially when you catered it so strictly to TikTok. And now it's not even worth posting on YouTube because YouTube doesn't have the same music.
Yep. So, TikTok is its own beast.
it is. So that's why you get sucked into the rabbit hole and you start playing the TikTok games, you can get stuck there and you can get kind of paint yourself into a corner. What I started doing was just shooting things generically, vertically, whether it was on my phone or one of my fancy cameras up here. Doesn't really matter. In fact, I tend to think cell phones do better. And shoot it, what's the word? Generically, excuse me.
Yeah.
And then edit it on my computer, put it on my phone, and then bam, upload it to the 4 platforms and use their native music each time I upload it.
Yep. That seems like the recipe for success. Definitely.
That's how you post on 4 platforms every single day.
Yeah.
If you're trying to get in there and investigate what's trending, I agree. It's really good. And if you're just trying to do a good push on your TikTok or a good push on your Instagram, definitely give them that tender love and care that they need. But when you get into the chop shop and the assembly line mentality, that's the way to go.
Yep. And creating an archive really of your content. Like I feel like there's so many little clips, like you can chop and splice and reuse. And I used to have this idea where I was like, oh, it's not the same lighting. Like I can't use that clip in this clip, but nobody's looking at the lighting. I mean, it's all pumping out more content is more important than it being perfect. And I think inventors, especially get into if they're like my dad, they're perfectionists. I mean, I feel like perfectionist to a fault almost. Like you have to keep moving. You have to keep making more content. Like fixating on one little tiny scene is like, is it really going to benefit your brand? Like I think just testing it. If it doesn't work, make something else. I think it's like me. I feel like I still struggle with that where I'm just like, just put it out. Like with the caption, I feel like the caption is like the last thing you do. You're sitting there, you made this video for stinking hours on end and you're like, what do I put for the caption? So I'm like, I just put it out. I'm like, I can always edit the caption later, put the video out, put some hashtags, call it a day, and see what works.
And there's a lot of little things, a lot of little hacks. People will tell you SEO tricks, and maybe there is some merit to it. But at the end of the day, remember, forget the word algorithm, replace it with audience. Is this fun to watch?
Yep.
Does this satisfy? That's it.
Absolutely. A logarithm. Yeah. Throw that word out. Exactly. It's like, you have to remind yourself too of Instagram's motivation. Their motive is to get people on there watching, scrolling. They don't want people to leave. So, having entertaining, they don't want ads out there all day. They don't want people like feeling that they're like bombarded with ads. So they want organic, entertaining videos. So if you kind of reach from that mindset of what Instagram's motivation is, I think but it's still a challenge. It's always a challenge trying to figure out what's going to work. And I feel like it's so funny. I always joke the videos that I spend the least time with are the ones that always are successful. It's like, it's a joke. I mean, it really, really is. It's like the ones I spend hours on are like, nothing. And then it's like I spend 2 seconds putting something together and it's like, boom. I'm like, well, if I would have known, I would have spent more time on that.
And the audience can tell it's nonchalant.
100%.
It makes 100%. People feel uncomfortable. You ever been to someone's house that's too clean?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And you're like, where do I sit? What do I do? Exactly.
Yeah. It's the exact same thing on social media.
Yep.
And you're right. It's an ongoing thing. And we're about to get into something really interesting. What I wanted to say was going back to working with Eddie yesterday. Eddie was shooting a lot of videos that at the end of the day just kept coming out like infomercials. Right. Do you wrap up your cords like this? Right. Check this out. Easy. And over and over and over again, and he's stuck at 800 views, 1.2K views. YouTube is great for that, stopping you right at 1.2K views. I don't know why they do that. I do. They test you up to 1.2K and then they shut you down. Every platform is so different. Like, just really quickly, it's so interesting. TikTok may blast you to 150,000 views. I just opened a brand new TikTok account for Torque Strap. I named it Strap Guy because I think I was shadow banned for doing too many ads.
Interesting.
And my 5th video I posted got 150,000 views in a couple days.
Wow. Yeah.
So just anybody listening out there, don't think that because you're small, you're not getting views. Good videos get views no matter what.
Right.
The exception to that rule is YouTube. YouTube is weird with their shorts. It has happened. I don't know why, but until you have subscribers, YouTube really suppresses you after you hit 1,000 or 2,000 views. Have you had the same experience?
Yeah, I have not ventured into YouTube. I'm like, YouTube is like not a territory I ventured into. I should try, but that's very interesting. I've always felt like it's just so different how they throttle you back. I feel like they definitely throttle you back. I think you enlightened me recently saying about how they realize you're a brand. They start learning you're a brand trying to you trying to advertise organically. And they're like, no, you need to pay for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're so right when you say that. It's very interesting.
So what you have to do as a creator is you have to stop posting ads and you have to start posting things like hacks and how-tos and did you knows.
Yep. I heard a piece of advice that always stuck with me, and it said, what's something someone would pay you to know? Write a video about that. And that's what people are going to want. You know, like what is something that's so useful, like that people would like really pay you to find out. And like, that's what that will be your, winning video. But I mean, coming up with that every day is just exhausting. I mean, I made a goal to start posting every day and I never have ever posted every day. I think 3 times a week is like my goal now because it's just so exhausting. And I mean, we don't even really feed posts on Instagram. Instagram is our main platform. I mean, I'm really just cranking out reels constantly because I feel like that's what people are watching. But then repurposing those ones that do successfully onto meta ads. I think that's kind of, you use organic to test. Organic, you only have so much reach with organic. They're never going to give you the reach that you can have if you put money behind it. And so when a organic post is successful, then I convert that into, I'm going to put money behind that and really push it, to a bigger audience. And that's kind of my new strategy lately.
You're 100% right. And I want to share something interesting. We recently went over our last 30 posts and we picked out the ones that did the best organically. The one that did the best organically had 2.4 million views, but it did not sell the torque straps at all. So what did we, it was a hack for the bed of your pickup truck to hook a chain from the front to the back so you have somewhere to attach to anywhere on this chain. Awesome video, something people, like you said, might pay to hear, like it's a hack that they needed that day. So we took the front end of that video and we slapped on attaching a torque strap to it and tightening it and then ran that as a paid ad.
And has it been successful?
I don't know yet.
Yeah. That's so interesting. I love that. That's a great idea. Yeah. Inserting like the more like advertising aspect into it at the end. Yeah. Yeah, people love hacks. They love hacks. I mean, I personally love a hack. I will watch a hack till the end. That's very interesting. Yeah. It's a trial and error. It really is a trial and error. But so when you say that it didn't sell the torque strap, you didn't find like high conversions with it, or it just didn't feature the torque strap at all? It was just solely
You wouldn't even know it was a buy torque strap video. It was just a generic hack. Right.
But see, that's good that you're pumping out like different kinds of, content that's like educational. I feel like you can accumulate a lot more audience for that.
You can. And that's the idea. I always tell people the views come first. The sales are a byproduct.
Right.
And if you're going into a video thinking about the sales, you're not going to get the views. I can guarantee you that.
100%. And I think going back to the going viral prematurely, when you go viral and they click on that page, they're looking for like a brand. They're looking for something to follow that's interesting. When they hit follow, it's because you've got something going on, but if you're, so premature, you don't have anything. It's kind of like you lose a big chunk. I mean, I feel like we lost a big chunk of the people who potentially would have followed us off of that big, mega viral video because we had my dad having pictures of his daughters, like just so inconsistent of what, it was like a personal page. But yeah, so.
I want to go back to something you mentioned 15 minutes ago that really piqued my interest. You said before you were super freaked out about China stealing your stuff, and now you kind of have a different opinion on that. So tell me about your process working through protecting your baby.
So when we went viral, we had two knockoffs on Amazon, and we were like horrified, like, oh my God, what are we going to do? So quick. Within 2-3 months, we had 3D printed versions of a knockoff that was so poorly designed. And I was kind of like, phew, like if the knockoffs are going to look like this, then we're okay. You know, like these are so poorly designed. They were 3D printed, and they had really bad reviews on Amazon. So that was kind of really, really scary for us. And they were just the typical Chinese brands on Amazon that were selling them. So when we got the molds, the one that came from China and the one that came from America, when you look at those molds, they are so different. I mean, the China mold is superb. It's like perfect. Like it's like made to spec. It's a beautiful part. I mean, our arm is like, everything is perfect. And then the mold that came from the Oregon and the US, it's just like, it didn't have that same touch to it. It was kind of like, you know, the edges, the finish wasn't as good. There were scratches. It was just not as well made. So I think that was my first like, aha, like, okay, China really does know what they're doing in manufacturing. So that was one of the pieces. And then when it came down to the fact that, you know, no one's really going to make your product as good as you are. You know, like if you have really tested this product over and over again, China is a manufacturing country. Like they're concerned about pumping things out, you know? So if they start selling something and there's no success with it, they're going to move on. You know, they don't have that dedication that we have to our product. So the threat of them coming in and making a product just as good as mine is not really there. I think that they're serial manufacturers. They just keep making it and producing it. So that was another like kind of aha moment for me. And then really just understanding that they know what they're doing. They really do know what they're doing. They can do it cheaper. I mean, we spent upwards of $20,000 on our mold, which we could have definitely, I mean, it's a really small part. We could have definitely got it, this little piece. We got 4 of them. We spent $20,000 on those, and definitely, and it's for aluminum molds too, which is not the best price, but and then
that was in China or the US?
China, US $20,000 for 4 small aluminum molds that will only last you. I think they quoted us at like 100,000 shots units for those, and then we got this beautiful steel mold from China that's like beautiful, polished. I mean, it's just perfect, and that should last us millions. You know, so. I think there's a definite real risk in the fact that they don't respect the U.S. patent. You know, they're not going to respect the patent laws as much as, you know, somebody in the U.S. would. But I keep coming back to like building that brand. Like nobody can take that from you. Like nobody can take the work that you put into the branding, the packaging, the content. And they're not going to create content like you. They're really not. They're not going to market it like you. They're going to go on Amazon, and, you know, it's not as big of a threat as, you know, a lot of people think in the beginning.
As music to my ears, because I preach that a lot, and you said it perfectly. When I really try to grab people's attention, I just tell them China sucks at selling to the U.S.
100%. They don't know. They don't know what we want. You know, even if you go on, like, I'm going to Miami later this week, and I was going on Amazon scrolling for dresses, and I'm like, these are all so ugly. Like it's like the people in China, they don't know what the trends are here. You know, they don't know the American buyer. Like when I go on Nordstrom, I'm like, oh, I love everything here. You know, I feel like Amazon just has like a very different, you know, like not a native touch to it that, you know, American has. I think that's a really good point.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you feel that way, and you're 100% right. Look, when they do start to knock you off, it's just more awareness that there is a simpler solution.
Right.
Let them buy the knockoff. They're going to throw it in the trash in a week, 100%. And then they're going to look for a better one. And there you are. 100%. They're marketing for you for free.
Right. 100%. And I do think that there's some products out there that are much easier to knock off than others. I think if you're still in the phase of designing your product, try to make it a little complicated. Like try to, if you can, like add, like, you know, we have a 2-piece mold, or just try to put a little bit of complication into it. So it's not as easy to knock off. I think that was like a big thing for us too. Like we actually have to assemble our product. We have to put an O-ring in it, and, you know, it's 2 pieces, which China's probably not going to really do. They're going to try to make it 1 piece. They're going to try to make it as cheap as possible, as quick as possible. They're not going to make it as like work as, you know, they're not concerned about, like, most of them that are making these don't even own a motorcycle to test it on. So like the knockoffs, right. Like you'll see, it's like a fake chain, like they're like putting it on, and it's not comparable. But I think that they're good in the Amazon PPC, like they know Amazon very well. And I do believe that they get a little bit of privilege in Amazon and like the education maybe about Amazon PPC. I think, us over here in America, we do it differently. And I think that I'm kind of intrigued by how they, their Amazon strategy, but it all comes back to building the brand, and the brand meaning like the website, the content, the logo, like everything is like a little package, and that's like what your business is.
Right. Absolutely. So you got to be honest with me. How much did you guys sell when you went viral those first couple times?
Yeah, I think we sold maybe like 30,000 and about like 26,000 total revenue in that little period. I think it was like close to, I can't remember the exact units, but maybe like 200, 300, 400, 500 in like a short period.
Yeah.
And then, I want to say less than 500 units, definitely, but I can't even remember the exact numbers now, but it was quick and then it was down, It wasn't like, it didn't sustain us at all. I think that like once it went down, we were really depressed, like that depression after you go viral and it kind of peaks down, and we didn't really have anything else to show for like them, or we didn't really have any more content to post. Like we were just kind of like, oh, that's what we thought was going to carry us. I think that was like a really big like letdown for us, but it definitely, the 20,000 followers for when we did launch was very helpful. But yeah, that peak definitely came down. Yeah.
I think where you will find yourself soon is, and you still have some opportunity to grow your YouTube shorts, your TikTok shorts. You're already on Facebook and Instagram. But eventually you'll come to the point where you have 50, 60, 100,000 followers, whatever, on all the platforms, let's say, and you consistently post videos that get sometimes 3,000 views, sometimes 11,000 views, occasionally 100, 500,000 views. But the conversion rate just kind of diminishes because you're essentially showing the same crap to the same couple million people over and over again. When I first started going viral, it seemed like 1 in every 1,000 people that saw the video went and bought the product. So on 100,000 view video, it would be like 100 orders. It was just insanity. It was like printing money.
Wow, that's really impressive.
But that was the fresh audience. And then they're all saturated. You try to reach some new people, and you do, but dwindles and dwindles and dwindles and dwindles to now we'll have a video do a couple million views and it might only result in a dozen orders. That's
where we're at. That's exactly where we're at. We have, easily we hit at least like 300,000 and we'll get 4 orders.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird, right?
Yeah. Very weird. Whereas when we first started launching, we started using that influencer, we were getting 20. But to be honest, we never really hit more than like 20 orders off of an organic post. Now that I think about it, since we've had like our Shopify established, since after going viral, it's never really like, I almost sometimes wonder if like they throttle you back, like if there's like no way you can order more. I don't know. I just am so skeptical that we never really hit more than 20 orders, no matter how good the post does since. But
I don't know. I can't say what's going on there, but I think in general, it's fair to say that it's a diminishing return, right? The high doesn't last very long, but it's also a good thing because if you and I were just depending on viral videos, we would sit in the corner crying because one day we'd have none, the next day we'd have so many we couldn't handle it.
Right. And that's why the long-term goal is your SEO, your paid advertising on Meta, your paid advertising on Amazon. I think that's what really sustain you. And when you get a good system on Meta, when you're getting 4 to 6 return on your ad spend, like that's a very, very predictable, income that you're getting. If I put this much money into advertising, I'm going to get this much money back. So I think that, we're all hopeful that organic is going to hold us, but that's just not the case. It's not enough to sustain a business at all. So you have to put money behind your advertising and learn that, those strategies.
Have you found any success with retail brick and mortar?
Not really. So, we have found success in dealers. We have a lot of, that was kind of our people would approach us and say like, how can I sell this in my store? So we're kind of like, we kind of gave this wholesale price, and we've seen a lot of success with that. Now we have close to 15 dealers across the world, in Malaysia, Singapore, Germany, a bunch of different places, Netherlands. And we have a wholesale price that we give them, and they have brick and mortar stores. So we don't really, it's nice because we can just send them the units and they push it, they do the pushing of the piece by piece of the retail. And we provide them with a Google Drive that has our Instagram reels, our logo, our product images. And that's worked really well for us. And that's nice because you send out 200 units and it's not you who's, piece by piecing it out. So
yeah,
definitely something to look into.
That's amazing. Yeah. We do something similar. We have a big distributor in Australia. We call them a dealer, if you will. Yeah, they're our authorized dealer. And that's great. They'll order like a pallet from us here and there, and they're pushing us at trade shows. They're building the amazing trade show booths, and we get to see our product in action.
That's amazing.
I'm kind of like you. I don't get into trade shows. It seems like a really tough way to get exposure.
Yeah, and it's
exhausting, expensive, all the above.
Yep.
But I think a lot of people will find that when you go viral, you for some reason you'll have so many people from different countries reaching out like, "Hey, mate, can we become a distributor?
How do I get this? Is this in India?" Yeah, we have a huge audience in India. I did not realize they have a huge motorcycle, like more than the US does, and so we've been getting. And also when you go viral, how many people reach out to you wanting to help you, like give you resources, like brokers for injection molding people. I mean, everybody's really come to us in the sense of like the influencers that, reach out to us like, we want to promote your product, which I think is a really, really fortunate place to be.
Yeah. I experienced that as well. I mean, that all comes back to the value of putting yourself out there. You'll hear boomers say, "Oh, social media, it's a necessary evil." Get that out of your head. It's just necessary.
Right. 100%. 100%. If you want to, have a brand this day and age, you have to, and start thinking about that really impactful. And honestly, when you look at the video that really put us viral, it is like, it's so basic. I mean, it's like so long, so boring. My dad's hairy arm is in it and he's like putting it on the can. And I mean, like, it's not pretty. There's nothing pretty about it, but it hit. And I think it hit because it was new. And I think that's our leverage that we have as inventors is this is a new product. There's such a wow factor and a new product that's like, whoa, like I love this. And then they send it to their friends and then they comment, it's like, that's, really what we can use to leverage.
So where are you at now? Do you have any hang-ups or burning questions or like how's this going to go type of feelings? Where are you at?
Yeah, so I definitely have those days where I feel like, am I going to have to go back to nursing? Like, is this going to be enough? Like that fear in me. But I think that I just remind myself that like businesses, they take a while to like produce like, I always joke, I'm like, I haven't made $1 yet, but we'll see. Maybe one day I will. But like, when you just keep putting everything back into the business, like putting new camera equipment, we've got a motorcycle so we could test on. I think that we've had like a lot of expenses that, but I just keep trudging along. I feel like there's no way that you can put this much effort into something and it flop, right? Like I keep telling myself that. I'm like, there's no way.
No, you're right.
And you can really put like, and take people's advice and putting yourself at, like free, like what you said, like taking a risk, like putting yourself on video, like that's so scary, like what are the comments going to say? But it's really never as bad as you think it's going to be.
No, you just got to ignore it. That's all.
Just ignore it. And honestly, the negative, it's really feeds the positive. Like we have people in the comments like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like just use a straw. Are you guys crazy? Why are you buying this dumb piece of plastic in our landfills? And then there was people defending us like, no, this is actually really cool. And it's like, it creates this like chatter that's like, you can't buy that. That's so good.
No, that's virality.
Yeah. Bring on the negative comments. I'm like, I almost like want to like provoke them because everyone in the motorcycle community hates when you lubricate the chain on the sprocket. They're like, that's not how you do it. And I'm like, let's do it. Let's tease them.
There you go. I love that. I did the exact same thing. I would find out what would provoke them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of industries where people just get so anal about how you strap things down.
Yep.
That's horizontal. That's got to be vertical DOT regulation. And I'm like, I thought you would say that.
Yep, exactly. And, in the beginning, it's like you're creating the content like in fear of like what they're going to say. You're like, oh, God, someone's going to complain about this. I'm not going to do it from this angle. And then it's like, honestly, just create the content. Just create the content. Put as much out there as you can. See what sticks. And when it sticks, just keep going with it.
Yeah. And so many people would say to me, it's so annoying. Like in the very beginning, I had to borrow a lot of people's motorcycles and dirt bikes to strap them down to get videos. You got to be resourceful. And I'd always get this annoying guy saying, oh, if you strap it down that way, the people in the comments are going to say this and that. And I'm like, dude, I've been doing this for 2 years. I know what they're going to say, and I'm counting on it.
Yes.
So you'll always have people whose goal it is to get nothing but positive comments. Where does that exist?
It doesn't. It doesn't. Honestly, it's like if that's what you're shooting for, you're probably not going to go viral. Honestly, like that you have to have that. It's like, and honestly, the people who are commenting, I don't even think they realize they're commenting to a real person. They think they're talking. They don't think the person's going to read it. So it's like you can't even take it personal because there's so many things people say without. But yeah, we've had some crazy comments. But then we also have built this brand where people come and defend us. They're like, "Shut up," like you don't know what you're talking about, and it's like that's all. Like I'm like. This is good.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You gotta have some gut. You gotta have some nerve, and you gotta jump into it.
Just keep moving for sure.
How many years have you guys been in business?
Not even a year. We started.
Oh my gosh.
We went viral a year ago today, actually.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, about a year ago. Yeah. So we just recently launched our new design in June. So June, July, August, September, October. Like 6 months ago, is when we first launched. So yeah, we have some time to kind of be in the profit.
You do. You have plenty of time. You're doing really well. And now that you've kind of latched onto the podcast and you're in the Discord, you're not going to make nearly as many mistakes as I did. So, and to give you some perspective, I've been doing this 4.5-ish years. I still have the dreams every night that I'm back at AT&T climbing poles to make money. It doesn't go away.
That's good to know. Good to know.
It doesn't go away. What I can say is this. I think it takes a long time to make money for the simple fact that it takes a couple years to figure out what you do need and what you don't need.
100%. 100%. Yes. You don't need the new car. You don't need the new camera equipment. You don't need the office space. I mean, you really don't. And it's like, you think, oh, it's going to make me more money the more money I spend. But you don't need a lot. You really don't need a lot.
Write-offs, right? Oh, it's a write-off.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, write-offs. Yeah, no, write-offs are not that beneficial.
I had a content creator, influencer. He had this $3,000 package. We've been going back and forth forever on this thing. He's actually become kind of a close friend because he's such a goofball. I went on his podcast. Anyway, he says to me the other day, look, I'm going to do this for you, that for you, that for you, and ... It's a write-off. So I'm like, dude, don't say that. You just sound so amateur when you say it. I said to him, a write-off is a loss of money.
It's a loss. Exactly. This
is not something to brag about.
This is not something to brag about.
No.
Right. 100%. Yeah. And honestly, just growing the money in your account is so important, like don't just spend everything, like as soon as it comes, I felt like in the beginning, it was just like a rotational door of money. Like it was like, it would come in, it would go out, it would come in and go out. So yeah, trying really hard to stay in the, and another thing is like looking at your numbers, like really diving into your numbers and what is so important. Getting QuickBooks online is so easy to set up. Just set it up and it's kind of like a set and forget kind of thing. And you can just go in there and constantly looking.
Yeah, absolutely. Payment terms is great too. If you can ever leverage payment terms, do it. And I can't because kind of like you, our products are unique. Maybe they're still small quantity. So the manufacturers that don't love working with you. So for me, what's really come in handy is these Amex cards. This one's a gold. I got the plums in my wallet, but the plum card has 60-day payment terms. Oh. And what that means is if you make a purchase right at the beginning of the cycle, you have almost 90 days before you have to pay that bill.
Oh, wow.
So what I will do, whenever I'm trying to tier up an inventory, say we're used to ordering 6,000 units every couple of months, and I want to jump to 10,000 units. My income doesn't match this new expense I'm about to make. So you need somebody to front you some cash. The manufacturer's not going to do it. They're not going to let me pay later. They want cash. They want 30% down and the 70% before they ship it out.
Right.
then I don't get it for a month and I can't sell through it for a month and a half. I'm like, where's this money supposed to come from?
Right.
That card will help you do that. That's a
That's
cool hack for
good
everybody.
advice. It's called the plum. What did you call it?
PLUM, plum. That's right.
Wow, that's yeah, no, in the beginning I was like, this is just a losing business. Like, where's the cash flow is just like it's like a negative cash flow. You buy the inventory, then you have to sell it, then you have to buy it, then you have to sell it. It's like,
right.
So yeah, it's definitely, yeah.
There's the plum card for you.
Oh, that's amazing. I love it.
Yeah. No really great rewards, maybe like 1% cash back, but it's not really about that.
Right.
And the tricky thing is though, I was on another guy's podcast, Josh Hadley. He has a Ecom Breakthrough podcast, and he suggested this hack to me, and I've been doing it. The manufacturers generally don't take credit cards,
right?
So you use there's a third party platform called Melio, Melio or Melio, and they'll basically take the credit card payment and send it to the manufacturer as a wire transfer.
That's a game changer. Melio, you said?
Melio. That's right.
Wow. That's amazing.
Now,
and no wire the money.
Yep. Now there is a 2.9% charge on this.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
But when you get 1% cash back, okay, so that softens that blow.
So true. That's a great hack.
And find me a bank that's going to loan you $60,000 for 90 days at a 2 or a 1.9% fee. You're not going to find it. It's well worth what Josh said, and he's an 8-figure seller. He goes, I'll happily pay 1%, 2%, 3% fees to free up cash flow.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Don't use your cash. Yeah. Put it in credit if you can. Yeah. Another hack that my boyfriend, he's a financial advisor, and he was telling me that we got a credit card that was a year of interest free, like no interest credit card. And then you can actually so when you get up on that year, you can find another credit card with a year interest and just transfer that balance to the next credit card. So you can get another year. Yeah. So we're we're looking for our second credit card that has a year of interest free. So you can kind of keep balance transfer is what it's called.
Nice.
So yeah.
I did the same thing. I needed $10,000 for something. I don't remember what was going on, but I did that on Chase Inc. Put $10,000 on this, set the automatic payments at $1,200 a month.
Yep.
And I knew it would be clean and clear. I did not know. Does it have to be the same bank card?
No. No.
Okay.
Just you can do a balance transferred anywhere. Yeah.
Awesome. That's an awesome hack.
Yeah. Anything you can do to save a little bit of money and to not use your cash.
Well, I think people hearing this are thinking, well, this is just a big, waste of time. You guys are just creating a cash tornado that never stops. And this is why I always tell people, make sure your product is high margin. That solves so many issues. You can do all these hacks and payment terms, but at the end of the day, buying something for $1 and selling it for $30, that's the best way to finance your business.
Yep.
This is why we generally manufacture in China. This is why, generally speaking, and I'm not speaking to your product, generally speaking, people who have this conviction to U.S. manufacturing, they find themselves 11 years later still wondering, why am I getting knocked off? Why am my price is getting beat on Amazon? And at the end of the day, their product maybe, I don't know, but it's something people really don't give a crap if it's made in USA or not.
Right.
With yours,
100%.
I'm kind of on the fence because you can make it fairly cheap in the U.S. and motorcycles, that's Americana.
And we're doing the labor. Like, don't get me wrong. I think the plastic unit itself is not really a different price in China and U.S., but it's the labor that's expensive. China labor is so much cheaper. So you get that product so much cheaper. So we're doing the labor all of ourselves. So I think that's kind of we're putting the product together, we're actually putting the O-ring on and stuff. So, but if we were to hire somebody, I mean, that price would shoot up. And so our profit would shoot down. So I think that's.
Well, to share some personal numbers with you, because this is something I struggled with towards the middle of this year, especially in the slow months. I have 2 employees. They both make a fair salary, and they always get paid. Rarely do I, as you can understand. And I'm sitting here wondering, what have I done right? What have I done wrong? So what I've done right, in my opinion, is I've built the business to scale. Me and my 2 guys, we can handle $10, $15 million a year, the 3 of us. I will not get overloaded. They will not get overloaded. Everybody has their respective jobs. However, I did that when we were only making 1 million. The numbers don't really, the math doesn't math at 1 million gross revenue with 3 employees. That's why I sacrificed my paycheck for quite a while. Now, I could have just flipped that, done all the work myself. I could have paid myself 300 grand a year. Not quite, but maybe 150 grand a year. But, you know, the kids would think the refrigerator is their dad.
Right. No, that's such a good point. Like you built the business with scaling in mind, that's so beneficial. Yeah.
So you pick what you value. Me personally, I was all about how can I build a business where I can eventually be on the beach and just pull up my account and see how much money did I make. I really wanted to have that. And so I designed my life to accommodate that. There's certain benefits to owning the business. It pays for the truck and the phones and all that. But at the end of the day, whenever we have big orders coming up, I shut off my modest salary. So we talked about what I did right and wrong, being a little premature. What I've learned is going over the profit and loss, the numbers. This business will make the 3 of us very comfortable at about 2.2 to 3 million a year. At that point, it makes perfect sense. Profit sharing, bonuses, trips to Vegas, like that. Really happy employees. That's going to be our sweet spot, and that's the goal for 2025.
That's amazing. What are your 2 employees? What are their roles?
That's a great question because it's like, who the hell do I hire first?
Right. It's a good question.
One mentor said, just hire an admin. Just find the best computer person you can, a fairly young person, computer savvy, call them an admin, and then you get to make them do anything. Yes. The first one I hired was Steven. Steven was recently unemployed, found him on the neighborhood app. I needed help in the warehouse. He helped me in the warehouse for a while. We're testing straps for months and months, and I learned he has a lot of business acumen. He's got a sales background. And I'm like, all right, you're no longer my warehouse grunt. You're my new head of sales. And you find someone who you have to sell the dream to them. Right. And when somebody latches onto it, you'll know right away. And I knew right away Steven could see the upside. He could see the potential. And so everything he does is with profit in mind, with my business in mind. And you have to reward that as you go.
Yeah, that's rare. Yeah, hold him close for sure.
And so what I did was I awarded Steven, he's now vesting, he's going to get 5% of the company. Wow. On his 5th year, he'll get his last point. So he'll eventually have 5%. And the goal is that we create a $40 million company and he's a millionaire in his late 20s. That's right.
That's amazing. And how early on did you hire out?
So Steven, I had been doing it for like 2.5 years before I hired Steven.
Okay. Wow. And for the first 2.5 years, you were the main workhorse in the warehouse?
Yeah, that was it. And the money was flowing. And anytime mommy needed a new pair of shoes, I was ready to do it. Like it was cool. But I also realized like, this isn't really sustainable. If I just do this myself, I'm basically going to be capped at a few $100,000 in sales a year before I can't handle it anymore. Mm-hmm. So I found a fulfillment center. Shortly after the fulfillment center, I hired Steven. And then Steven basically, he went after sales for a really long time. But what we found was retail sucks. It's a brick wall. It's annoying. It's not worth your time. The margins. Yep. Shop owners are the most annoying people in the world.
100%. And the displays, they demand everything. They're like, I need 5 free. We just got an request. I'm like, okay. But it's and such little margin.
Yeah, so. It's petty. It's petty stuff. So now he's shifted to like, he's just a shipping and hack wizard. Like he just got us set up with a fulfillment center in Illinois. So Our first fulfillment center was in LA. It sucks shipping from LA to Miami or LA to New York. So Steven says, hey, we just got 2 shipping containers. Let's send one of those containers to a new fulfillment center closer to the East Coast. The vast majority of your orders are going to happen not the vast majority. Right. A slightly higher percentage is going to happen on the East Coast. Right. So now you ship from Illinois to New York and you might shave 25% off of that cost.
Wow.
So
You're on Amazon too, I see.
yeah, we're on Amazon. We've always been kind of a 50-50 split between Shopify and Amazon.
Yeah.
Right now we're playing with some stuff. We gave Alfonso, who's in the Discord, he manages the account. Because once again, it's my belief that my job is not to push pencils. It's to be the face of the business. Right. And it comes with a cost.
It's so good.
Everybody gets paid but you. But eventually when it hits, when you hit that teetering point, it's like, hold all my calls for 2 weeks and I'm going on vacation. And like, that's when you build that dream business.
That's such good advice. I love that. I feel like me and my dad do everything. So it's like, we couldn't even, I'm like, sometimes I start thinking to myself, I'm like, we need to write standard operating procedures just in the event we do need to hire somebody, because if you just do it all yourself, it's so, like you said, you're capped. You're definitely capped. I think that's so important to think about scaling, early on.
Think about it, approach it with caution, because everybody's situation is different. And I know personally, my wife was looking at me a lot like, how do you justify these guys getting paid good salaries and you not? And we need the money. Right. And I say, look, Christmas is coming. I'm going to need these guys. Right. Next year, we're getting twice as much inventory. I'm going to need these guys. You got to keep your eye on the goal, the long-term vision. Yep. 100%. That's really good advice. That being said, approach it with caution. I would not recommend hiring your first full-time salary. Say they're making 60 plus a year. I wouldn't recommend doing that until you're doing at least a solid $1 million a year in revenue, because that's good advice. Yeah. They're expensive. I don't know how. Somehow 60 grand a year turns into $1 million, it seems like. Yeah. No, it's really expensive. Yeah, that's really good advice. Yeah. No, but anyway, I'm going on and on. I just wanted to kind of get that out there, because no one's going to tell anyone the real raw truth of this journey. I think like we do, like Brooke and I are right now. And 100%. I don't know why it drives me nuts. That's why I started doing this. Why would you withhold information? It's martyr mentality. My life sucks, so yours has to suck too. I don't believe in that stuff. Right. I used to literally sit at my computer and be like, I don't even know what to research to find my question. Like, I didn't even know. I would search like invention, and I would get nothing, literally nothing. There was no like answer to any of my questions. I would just look at ChatGPT, like, I don't even know what to ask to get my answer. Like, it's like, you just don't even know where to start, and you don't hear really any success stories. So when I saw your video, I'm like, oh my gosh, I went on Amazon. I'm like, Torch Tribe, it has so many reviews. It has like 700 reviews at 5 stars. Like, this is so crazy to see somebody who invented something and brought it to market and has seen success. Like, that is gold. I mean, yeah. Well, thanks. That makes me feel good. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, listen, I think we've given a buttload of value. I think anybody listening, they got a real treat today. I really want to thank you, Brooke, for being so candid and open and giving me your time, the audience your time. I appreciate you very much. Thank you so much, Grant. Of course. Well, I'll talk to you in the Discord chat. And anybody who wants to hop in there and learn more from Brooke, just sign up on our Patreon. But yeah, Brooke, without further ado, I'll let you hang up and I'll close out the show. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Brooke. Bye-bye. Well, there you have it, folks. What a cool story. Father-daughter invention story. I love that as a father myself. I hope that one day my girls want to come in the garage and see what daddy's doing and see if they can get on board. They have a lot of potential. They've only been doing this for a year. Come on, Brooke. Why are you calling me? You got this all figured out. She's going to be great. All right, guys, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. If you're listening, follow the show on whatever platform you may be on. Remember, Brooke and I took the punches so that you don't have to. I'll see you guys on the next one.